It's that time of year when tax documents start showing up in the mail, W-2s, 1099s, and more. Most of us simply file them away in a shoebox and take it to our tax preparer before April 15th. But what if there's more that you could do to be saving in the future on taxes? So joining us to talk about it is Gary Mattson and Laurel Stewart, the father-daughter team from Mattson Financial Services, the sponsor of this segment. They're a financial firm that's been helping people retire successfully in West Michigan for decades. Gary, Laurel, what is wrong with just completing this annual chore as usual, kind of just going through the motions of things?
Well, right now I think it's more important than ever because we don't really know what's going to transpire the rest of this year, you know? And also when it comes to meeting with a tax preparer or a tax planner, they're not the ones who are the investment advisors, right? So they're not here to give you all this advice as to what you should be doing. Rather, they're going to be there to take your documents, complete it, and send it away.
Yeah, are there often opportunities that get overlooked when it comes to your retirement plan?
So many things. Definitely when you're looking at it from from a tax point of view, you know, you may be able to make a contribution to an IRA and save tax dollars. You may be in a position to move money from an IRA to a Roth IRA and never have taxes again. You know, we always kind of focus on those three tax buckets: tax-free, tax-deferred, and then taxable. Nobody likes the last one. We really like the other two, but if we can mitigate the last one by using the other two, that's a great opportunity for all clients. And let's face it, once you give that money to the IRS, how many times you get it back? Exactly.
That made me laugh there.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I wish.
You know, it sounds very complicated, and you know, no matter how smart and intelligent you are in whatever you do, I think a lot of people don't really know because they're not up to speed on the changes that can happen and the intricacies that are written in the tax laws. It's complicated.
It is, and it does change almost every year, you know? I mean, we're looking at the contributions and all of these things happening. Those did increase for this year. Gifting, that did increase, you know, compared to last year. But if you're not working with somebody who knows these details, as well as your investment advisor isn't communicating with your CPA or tax preparer, there just could be a lot of opportunities left to the side. So you want to make sure everybody's working together in your best interest to keep your hard-earned money.
Yeah. And that's, like Laurel said so well, is that making sure that you're working, your financial advisor is working with your tax preparer or CPA. That's why if we don't have somebody that has a good CPA or somebody they're just filing their taxes, doing it themselves or going down to local places that just wants to file the taxes, we actually get them connected with our preferred provider, and then we look at it as a holistic point of view. You know, how can we reduce taxes? Maybe there's things we can do right up to April 10th, the last filing, or there's things we can do in the future. Because let's face it, if we can save you money on taxes, maybe get a little bit better return on your assets, and then ready for this, lower your fees from an advisor point of view, you're making percentage differences that could be 3, 4, 5% difference in your portfolio. That's never going to be happening unless you sit down with somebody that can make it cohesively.
Yeah.
So if you had a $500,000 or $500,000 on a 3% difference or a 4% difference, maybe even a 5, those are large dollars that you're giving away forever, and you never can get them back.
Sure. You talked about the buckets. In tax-free, how do we get more in that bucket?
Yeah, we all like that one, don't we?
Yes, we do.
And that's your Roth IRA or other buckets, municipal bonds. There's some other things we can use out there. We have one client out of East Lansing, both professors, and they said, Gary, we did this tax thing a long time ago. We took all the money out of our retirement accounts and put it in CDs because we didn't need it. Well, the problem lies is that at the end of the year, just like every other client, they got a 1099 for interest from the CDs, and it was pushing them into different tax brackets. They didn't need the money. They want it for their grandkids for college education. So again, reposition that assets for tax deferred. They were saving $3,000 and $4,000 a year in taxes that they never should have otherwise paid. So they were very upset they didn't know that information ahead of time.
Yeah, exactly, and that can all add up. And so, as we mentioned, the rules change from year to year. Are there any changes on the horizon that we can look out for? Look forward to, all those things.
Well, definitely one thing, you know, we've heard time and time again is they're going to target people who are making, you know, about $400,000 or more. And some people might say, well, I don't really fall into that, but you know, we've got a lot of higher income earners later on in their lives that does affect. But also for those of you who aren't quite there yet, there's still things like Social Security that it might impact and gifting, you know. So there's a lot going on, so don't be scared to ask the questions. That's what I encourage you to do, because you you might not know what questions to ask, but give us a call and we can start talking through some of those different options.
Yeah.
And of course, we're hoping by the filing of taxes for last year, we actually have a clarity of what they're going to change.
Yes.
We all know that it's got to go up. It's got to. We've got too much debt, so we got to be prepared for that and actively asking the questions, what can I do differently?
Yeah, okay, so it sounds in addition to talking to a tax preparer, maybe, depending on where you are, a fiduciary is someone that you want to add into the mix.
Yes, and what we talk about that is that's when you have the client's best interest in front of your own. And it's sad to think that we have to actually talk about that as an industry, but that's something that is a designation, and that's why we think it's very important we have that for our advisors at our firm, because it shouldn't be about your advisor's plan, it's your plan, and you want to make sure that you have less fees, less taxes and these types of things, so your holistic picture, because you're also spending 30 or so years in retirement, your wealth is growing for you.
Right.
It was interesting. We had a client actually say, you're asking a lot of information on this first appointment. Well, we need all of that information to really do a correct job. If you had a headache or a stomach ache and feet ache, and you're going in and say to one doctor, I got a headache, another doctor, I got a stomach ache, another doctor, I got a foot ache, they're not going to be able to comprehensively diagnose what's going on. So you need to have all that information together before you make a decision.
Yeah, and you have an offer for our viewers to get the ball rolling and to start looking at those taxes. What is it?
If you've saved $400,000 or more for retirement, you're getting ready to retire or already retired, it's time to sit down. Let's take a look at what you've done so far or what tweaks we can make right now for your retirement plan.
Okay, so thanks a lot for stopping by, Gary and Laurel.
Thank
for
you
you at home, take advantage of the special offer from Mattson Financial. If you're retiring or getting ready to retire, Gary, Laurel, and the rest of the team will sit down with you to personally customize a plan that's just for you. This is a comprehensive plan that includes a look at taxes, your investments, your income sources, and so much more to help you get to and through that retirement that you deserve. So call now, 616-514-3831. That's 616-514-3831. This is great to talk about this, and we love any tips that we have to help us save money and plan for the future. So thanks a lot.
Thank you.
And this segment is sponsored by Mattson Financial Services. We'll be right back with more 8 West.